What's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambo. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Flying solo this morning here to talk a little Packers as we're gearing up for the Seahawks game coming up a little later in the week. I think Sunday Night Football is where we got that one scheduled, as the slate's going to be another late night for the post-game show, which, hey, look, there's no place I'd rather be at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, my time, than talking ball with all you guys and gals in here. I see the chat's already filling up. Appreciate y'all swinging through. Hopefully you're having an awesome morning as we get this work week underway here on December 9th on this gloomy Monday here in Tennessee. We got some rain in Northeast Tennessee, but not too bad, man. It's not too cold, but let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Guys, if you're looking for a place to buy tickets from, and specifically Packers tickets, make sure you check with Ticket King. They've been Wisconsin-based since '92. They specialize in Packers tickets. Obviously, they got Wisconsin's largest ticket source right there, and they have offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Just click on the link in the video description, and they'll send you their website, theticketking.com. You can register as a customer there. Go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Now, listen, you don't even have to register as a customer to go ahead and start looking at ticket prices. Okay, so hop in there, see if you can catch a deal on Packer games coming up. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Let's go to the chat real quick as everybody's filing in. Good to see everyone. Nick McSwain said, pretty sure Aaron Rodgers is cursed to always have subpar defenses, LOL. Man, it sure feels that way, doesn't it? He goes to a team that had an awesome defense in the New York Jets when Saleh was there. And, listen, I don't think they're like a horrible defense all of a sudden, but they definitely are not playing at the level they did when Saleh was the head coach. So Coach Brick out there is definitely struggling in Jersey to keep that thing going. And, Aaron, it sounds like he's planning on coming back next year is kind of the vibe I get. I see other people saying, reading between the lines of the McAfee show, they think he's going to retire. Regardless, man, think about Devontae Adams too. Like if you go back down memory lane for a second, this is not even in the show notes, but here we are. If you go back down memory lane and say, okay, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers here in Green Bay. If you guys will remember, Aaron Rodgers went on his tirade with the media there before. I'm trying to think of what season it was before. It might have been before 2020. Could have been 20. I think it was 2020 or 2021 maybe. The years have blurred together. But essentially what happened was they went to Devontae Adams to extend him, and they offered him less than $20 million per. And there were many other receivers getting paid over $20 million. And I think many people would say Devontae Adams is one of, if not the best wide receivers. So that pissed Tay off to the point where Tay said, nope, I'm done. I'm not negotiating. You can say you're putting a franchise tag on me, but I'm not coming in and playing. And Aaron Rodgers coming into camp that year, if I remember correctly, that's when he went off. It was going into Devontae Adams' last year with the Packers when Aaron went off in the presser, right? And so Devontae played that year out without a contract, without a contract extension. And then the next year they decided they were just going to franchise tag him, and he bucked on them. And then they basically they offered Devontae Adams more money than the Raiders offered him to say, okay, yeah, we screwed up here, take the money. And Devontae said, no, I want to go to Vegas. I'm out. So that's how that all happened. And you think about Devontae Adams leaves Green Bay, right? And Aaron stays. And in 2022 happens, Aaron breaks his thumb on his throwing hand. The receivers led the league in drops. The defense was, it definitely wasn't a top 5 defense. I think we would all agree. Devontae Adams goes to Vegas to play with his college quarterback and one of his best friends in life, and Derek Carr. Derek Carr gets benched. They end up shipping him out. So Tay's stuck out there without Derek Carr. Aaron decides, hey, look, I'm going to go into this darkness retreat. It's just wild to think about going back through time and really how that whole thing unfolded. And whichever story you want to believe, Aaron says that when he went into the darkness retreat, Goody told him, hey, look, if you want to play, your job's here, let's run it back. And then when he gets out of the darkness retreat, he said he had text messages from people around the league, good sources saying that Goody was shopping him while he was in the cave. It's like, you can't make this up, man. This sounds like a damn movie. So it's just wild because it's kind of Aaron ends up with the Jets. He gets them to trade for Tay, and they're one of the worst teams in the league. You know, as a Packers fan, it's hard not to feel vindicated that, hey, man, our team knows what we're doing here, right? Because I don't want to say you dodged a bullet. I think Tay and Aaron would have had a shot to win a Super Bowl if they both had stayed. But at the same time, things could be a lot worse. Man, that's rough out there in Jersey, no doubt about it. But anyway, here we are still talking about it. But it is interesting to see how he's got to be miserable, right? And I know he's putting on this facade like, he being Aaron, hell, even Tay too. Like, no, everything's fine. I'd like to stay here in Jersey. He said something about the house he had built or modified or whatever he's living in. So he's finding the positives, this and that. But you know he's got to be kind of looking over his shoulder going, what if I had taken a little less money and stayed in Green Bay, That's just wild to think about. It really is. I see the chat lighting up in here. Let's go ahead and jump into some of it. We got to keep it at a 40-minute show today. I got to take my wife to the hospital. Everything's good. Just a little minor hiccup. We're going to get everything taken care of, but we got a doctor's appointment this morning. So that's what we're going to do here. Let's see. Ron Samville said, Andy had an interesting stat. Christian, 8 drops in his career. Jaden Reed, 9 drops this year. I didn't fact check the stat. That honestly sounds good. It sounds accurate to me, Ron. I don't know who Andy is, but that sounds accurate. Of all of our receivers, and our goal was to get into the PFF grades and see where all of our players rank position wise across the league. But Christian Watson has the best catch, the best drop grade of all of our receivers on the team. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is accurate, Ron, for sure. Appreciate you dropping that stat in there. Nick McSwain said, I've heard the Jets could be a landing spot for Ben Johnson. Boy, that would be a wild turn of events, wouldn't it? Anywhere but the North, Although it would be kind of fun to see Ben Johnson fall to someone like, land somewhere like Chicago, because Detroit would have to deal with him twice a year. That would be fun too, because we've had to deal with that for how long, right? Seems like we're always losing players and coaches to NFC North rivals. So that part of me is like, if he does land in Chicago, I know some people are going, oh, crap, he's going to make the Bears good. He may, but you also got to think of the caveat and the positive that the Lions going to have to deal with him twice a year too. So that would be fun. I have confidence that we can beat good teams. I have confidence that we can beat good coaches. I really do. So the thought of the Lions potentially facing 2 extra losses because Ben Johnson, who knows their roster up and down, will be coaching against them, that would be a cool little twist there too. But he may go to the Jets. You're right, man. That could end up happening. Nick McSwain says, I hope he doesn't retire, talking about Rodgers. I know people hate him, but he's a big reason I'm a Packers fan. Kind of hurts seeing him on a bad team. Yeah, now I'm with you, man. Nick, anybody who's followed me since I started podcasting, I think I've been doing it for going on 3 years now. I like Aaron. Again, I think that politics and the whole COVID-19 thing really is what sparked the majority of what happened with Aaron. And I say this all the time. If you're one of those people that have a problem with Aaron Rodgers not wanting his vaccination status out in the public, then I'm sorry, I can't help you. It's nobody's damn business. It's nobody's damn business. And we're not going to get into what's been proven now and what has been disproven and this and that. I'm over that. I don't want to get into that argument. And some people are going, oh, Clayton's anti-vaxxer. Let me explain something to you. We had my wife's parents move in with us because her mom had a stroke and her dad was a veteran from Vietnam veteran who was on an aircraft carrier and was basically tech, I guess you could say tech guy, computer guy in aircrafts on aircraft carriers. If you guys know what the USS Forester is, that was a aircraft carrier that got blown up. And it was a malfunction on deck where a pilot had made a mistake. He was on that. So Parkinson's from napalm, things like that. Just a ton of different stuff. Parkinson's, dementia. He was a diabetic, amputee diabetic. One of my heroes in life. They had to move in with us. So I had to face the fact of, and I got COVID-19 and I got sick. I mean, we were really concerned. Still have long-term effects from how bad I caught COVID. So this isn't an anti-vaxxer opinion. And we're going to get back to Aaron. I'm just trying to tell you where I sit on the Aaron Rodgers situation. That's what got brought up. That's what we're talking about. So I checked around with doctors in the area, nurses that I know we have the same belief system, and we're kind of lockstep. And they did the best they could informing me, hey, look, you need to I think it's safe. I think you're good to go. And you need to protect your parents. You need to protect Mandy's parents. So that's what we did. I was the guinea pig. I went out and got the vax. I got the booster, one. And I have side effects from those. That's not me speculating. That's what my doctor told me. So allegedly, let's say that, so people don't get upset on here. So that was my stance, was like, okay, I caught COVID, and then I try to do what's right to not bring it in on my, high risk parents. And then I got some effects from the treatment. So that's why it's nobody's damn business, in my opinion, what Aaron Rodgers wanted to do with the vax. And again, for the people that say it ain't about that, okay, put your money where your mouth is, and everybody can do this. If someone says it ain't about that, go to their Twitter page and search Aaron Rodgers, and it'll just conveniently list everything right in order for you, right? And right in order, you can see when they've ever tweeted about Aaron Rodgers, and you just watch. When the immunization thing happened, boy, it completely flipped. So I don't have a problem with it either, Nick. It's, in terms of Aaron, it is hard to see him on a bad team. And listen, does he got an ego? Yeah, every athlete's got an ego. Could he have done things different? Absolutely, he could have done things different. There's been many times I roll my eyes like, man, this dude is he does not understand how this makes him look right here. But who are we to tell another grown man, you know what I mean, how to live their life or how to act? But I know this, he'll be in the Packer Hall of Fame. He'll be a Pro Football Hall of Famer, first ballot, and I'm glad he's representing the Packers. And anyone who says he's a bad teammate, you ask his teammates, you got maybe 3 out of how many years has he played now? 16, 17 years, whatever it is. There's maybe 3 or 4 teammates that have something bad to say about him. So he's worked with a bunch of different players from different age groups. I'm sorry. You're going to have people not like you. If everybody likes you, you don't stand for a damn thing. That's the way that goes, in my opinion. But Nick says, I like Goody, but ignoring wide receiver and lowballing Adams is a big reason 2022 was such a bad season. Rookies and Sammy Watkins struggled. LOL. Yeah, God, Sammy Watkins, I forgot about that, Nick. Holy cow. That's a great point, man. Feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, you're right, man. It was we were reaching for anything, wasn't we? Like, yeah, Sammy Watkins, he was highly touted. I know I was just trying to piece it together. Like, Goody knows what he's doing here. And again, the receivers lead the league in drops, so tough look. Again, that was in 2022, not now, thank God. Although drops can be an issue still. Ron Sample says Adams ended up playing for money and not legacy. That's fine, but his career did suffer quite a bit. He didn't play for money, Ron. That's the thing. He took less money to go to Vegas than what the Packers offered him. And this is what Aaron was talking about. What Aaron was trying to say at the time was, you got to treat these older players a little bit better. And do I think the Packers are horrible to older players? No, I don't. Like I said, the truth always falls somewhere in the middle. To me, it was more about and this isn't my opinion. This is what Devontae Adams said on an interview. And if you could see, I can't remember who was interviewing, but when you seen, it was Brandon Marshall. Pretty sure it was Brandon Marshall. You guys fact check me on that. You can go find that interview. They said, yeah, basically the Packers told him, this is Devontae talking, not me. The Packers told him, let's see it one more year. So think about everything that Tay had done up to that point. And then imagine working for an organization, working for a company, and saying, hey, yeah, I'd like a raise. Well, let's see it one more year. Are you going to come out going, okay, yeah, I'll show you one more year? You're probably going to be like, and another company that's in your hometown where all your family is, think about this, is offering you the same amount of money or similar money. Hey, look, you can come work for us and we love you. Where are you going? We all know what that decision is, right? So, but yeah, it wasn't just, I want more money. And what he told Brandon Marshall on that podcast was, he said, how much they offer you? And he went, it was under 20 million. And Brandon Marshall went, under 20 million? Like crazy. So it was a crazy low ball. Um, it is what it is, man. It's in the past, but yeah, it's and again, Ron, I'm not telling you how to think. You can see it that way if you want. That's definitely not how I've seen it. See, you guys hear me on here all the time when we're talking contracts and we're talking like, okay, how do we extend the players we want? Go to them early. Go to them early. Hey, man, here that's what they did with Tay the first time. Remember, but the second time, and that's where it comes down to the blueprint and modeling your roster is, they don't like to give out those third contracts, and when they do, it's typically for a player that's like, hey, all right, he's worthy of it. Aaron was one, right? Obviously, Brett was way back in the day. Jordan Love's now in his second contract. We'll see if he earns a third. And thank God, we're a few years away from that, right? But, Kenny Clark got a third. You guys know I wasn't in favor of that. So this isn't just, oh, Clayton, you always side with the players. No, I was anti Kenny Clark extension. I didn't feel like we had seen enough. But obviously, the organization knows more than me, and they're better at evaluating talent than me. Obviously, you don't need me to say that. They seen something in Kenny to say, hey, let's give him the bag. Now, you had his best game of the year this last week, so recency bias. Hey, we're looking good, but overall, tough. Let's see what else we got. Everybody following in now. Good to see everybody. Appreciate y'all swinging through, man, here on this Monday. It makes it so much easier to get the work week started when we got a bunch of folks in here talking ball with us for sure. Let's see here. What else we got? Green Ranger says Aaron Rodgers won us a Lombardi Packer for life. Amen, man. Amen. Completely agree. We forget about that stuff too, right? And we forget about the hell he caught when he took over for Brett. Man, there was death threats and everything. Like, it's a tough time for him for sure. Nick in the chat says, I respect Adams for standing up for himself. Good for him. And Aaron kind of went the bat for him too. That's what Aaron was talking about in the whole presser. They thought it was about him. Here's what's crazy. Here's how the media spun it too. This is what I'm talking about. Pissed me off. Then we're going to move on to other things here current. What really made me mad about that was Aaron stood at that podium and basically bashed the organization saying they don't treat older players better, blah, 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 blah. And the media was like, he's mad, personally mad at the organization, right? What people didn't know was he was going to bat for Devontae at the time. That's what he was doing. And we find that out later. The media immediately shifted it to Devontae left. You guys can find these articles. Devontae Adams left because he's tired of Aaron Rodgers' drama. And what they didn't know, being the arrogant asses that they are, not all of them, but a select few, they didn't know that Aaron was at the podium standing on the hill for Tay. And then like 2 or 3 days later, after I read one of those articles, Devontae comes out and said, I'll stand on the hill for 12 because he knew 12 was going to bat for him. Aaron was going to bat for him. And they just, you didn't hear that quote much, right? If I hadn't watched it on the press conference or on Packers.com, you would have never heard it because nobody put that quote in the article. So it's just kind of aggravating in that regard. Man, don't tell part of the truth. Tell the whole truth. You know what I mean? And again, Aaron's got his faults. There's no two ways about it, as we all do. But I'm excited to have him come back and have that number. I guess he'll have the number retired. I don't know, man. I imagine he would. That would make, how many would that make? Six numbers retired, 5 numbers retired, whatever it is. But I don't think anybody else should wear the number 12. That's just me. Anybody who wins a Lombardi like that, multiple MVPs, you could tell really carried the team for quite some time. Maybe not in the latter years, obviously, but yeah, I think they deserve to have that number retired. Anyway, let's get to the topic here. I want to give a shout out. You notice here at the bottom, a tweet went out on a video we're going to play here, and we're just going to play the audio aspect. Shout out to @HCM21_ said, listen to Josh Jacobs' story. You won't regret it. Went from being homeless at 8, having no aspirations to become an NFL player, first in his family to graduate college, and is now one of the top running backs in the league. And I just asked, hey, do you know who the creator of this video is? I want to give credit. And evidently it came from TikTok. So you guys, if you're on TikTok, I personally am not, go find @footballfangirl23 on TikTok. Okay, that's where this video came from. And again, I'm not going to play the video. I'm going to play the audio for you guys because if someone else, here's the tricky part about YouTube that's really, really frustrating. I'm going to go ahead and pop this up real quick. If I share this video on YouTube, this just kind of puts you in the mind of us and what we have to deal with in terms of AI. If I put this up on YouTube and someone else has shared it on YouTube, whether it be a short or a video, the AI will capture it as their video. They'll trigger us with a copyright or a share infringement or whatever it is, and they'll once again demonetize, ban the channel. So whether you're giving credit to them or not, they don't even own the video. They didn't even make the video, but because they were the first one to put it on YouTube, the AI will trigger it that way. And there's no one to talk to where you can go to YouTube and say, hey, here's the issue. This was just a mistake. You cannot speak to a human being at YouTube. So that's the issue. But anyway, here it is. I think you guys will enjoy the story. It's about 2 minutes long. This is who your running back one is. He's just unbelievable. What an amazing person. Here we go.
This NFL player was homeless from the age of 8 onwards. After his parents' divorce, his mom spent child support checks on herself instead of feeding her children. When he questioned her about it, she kicked him out of the house and he moved in with his dad, Marty. Soon, his dad gained custody of his 4 siblings too, but he also lost his job. So Josh and his 4 siblings lived in their car while the dad stood guard with a gun, moved from motel to motel, and lived off white rice and ramen. Josh calls himself a 5-star microwave chef. They eventually moved into a house, but it was in a rough neighborhood where shootings were the norm and police helicopters circled constantly. He says he was 13 the first time he got shot at. Through it all, for 4 minutes every night and on long car rides, his dad would make them sing, draw, paint, freestyle, beatbox, anything to express themselves and engage with each other. He loved these so much that he brought freestyling to his roommates in college, and they did it daily together. He's Filipino and has a tattoo of his Filipina grandmother on his hand. He's really proud of this side of his heritage and has gone back to the Philippines to meet his family. He signed with Alabama on the same day that his son Baxter was born. He says, when I finally held him and looked at him, it was a crazy feeling. That was the first time I felt like I ever really loved something in my life. Baxter stayed behind in Oklahoma and became besties with Josh's dad while Josh went to Alabama. When he first got there, he slept on his dorm floor for a while because he was so unused to having a bed. He says, everything was so nice, it was weird. And I was used to sleeping on floors and carpet. When you finally sleep in a bed and it's soft, it's uncomfortable. No one at his high school or college knew about his background. The only reason he finally went public with it was when a coach told him it might help other kids like him. He's the first person in his family to go to college, and he didn't have NFL aspirations to begin with. He just wanted to study and get a good education and make his dad proud. He bought his dad a house and a car in his first year in the NFL. He's also become something of a sneaker addict. He has 400 personal pairs at home and thousands more in a storage facility. He's known in the league for having really cool custom cleats. He also still loves to draw and has designed most of his own tattoos himself. Who should I cover next?
Absolutely phenomenal job again by on TikTok. It's at footballfangirl23. Go give her a follow, find that video, like it and everything. Just a phenomenal job. Listen, I knew that people around Josh Jacobs thought he was just an amazing stand-up person. I told you guys earlier that when we signed him, one of the first things I found on him from a personal standpoint is his ex-girlfriend, whatever, is basically the mother of his child, was interviewed. And I'm going, oh gosh, where's this going to go? You know, like how many people out there, your exes, have something positive to say about you, right? And she said he's an amazing father, an amazing person. He's always there for us if we ever need anything. She just had nothing but great things to say. And I'm thinking, man, this has got to be a high character guy. I did not know that about his background, though. I did not know his story. I knew I'd heard homeless and people compared it to like Donald Driver and things like that, but I didn't know just how bad it was. That type of stuff, man, it really builds character. It builds character. And, I'm just so damn glad that he's on the Green Bay Packers, no doubt about it. So, all right, let's get into some PFF grades, if that's all right with you guys. What I thought we would do is why not go around the league here and take a quick look at where our players rank by position. I was going to chart it, but I'm going to have to do it later. Actually, I could probably do it right here, just to kind of get an idea of where do these players rank, okay? And what we're looking to do, look, we're 4 weeks away from the end of the season. Obviously, we'll have the playoffs too. You've got the college football playoffs starting this week. So you're talking about high risk, high reward type games. You're going to see how players on those respective teams play under pressure. So now's the time to really, if you were ever going to watch a little college football, now's the time to do it. Whenever you see a college playoff game on, or if you want to go do the look at the stats, look at the analytics, look at the grades, look at the projections going into next year's draft, and say, okay, what positions are positions of need for the Packers? All right, who are these players at the top of the consensus big board that are playing these playoff games? Here's the guy that I like the most. This is the time to do it. It's a fun time. It really is. But what we want to do is just kind of evaluate as we come down into the last quarter of the season. I guess we're technically in the last quarter with the odd number of games, but you guys get the point. These last 4 games, let's get an idea of, okay, where do we need to improve next year? That way when you're watching college football, it's almost like a guide, right? So I think it would be be really beneficial in that regard. So quarterback, let's start there. Okay, quarterback, you can see Jordan Love, and the minimal snaps percentage has been removed according to PFF here. So this is going to give you the guys that play the majority of the time. All right, Jordan Love, 76.8. He's tied for 15th in the league right now. So he's a top 15 quarterback. So we say quarterback, we're going to put 15th. All right. Now, obviously, there's some people going, Clayton, he's getting paid way too much money to have that low of a grade. Listen, I understand the concern and everything, but to me, it's not so much about is he the highest graded player or not, is he elite? It's is he in that ballpark, right? Because PFF isn't everything. We're looking. Let me put it this way: when I look at PFF grades, I'm looking for outliers. I'm looking for something that really pops. Like, whoa, that really stood out, as opposed to, well, he's 15th in the league, but really, when you think about it, when you look at his grade, he's 76.8. He's less than 5 points away from being top 10, right? He's less than 10 points away from being borderline top 5. So I don't split hairs with PFF is basically what I'm saying. All right. So again, legit, to me, that checks out. Jordan's the dude. He's our franchise quarterback moving forward. It's nice to have Malik Willis as a backup. Should Jordan get banged up again, we're good there for this year, the remainder of this year and next year at backup quarterback, unless they decide to trade Malik Willis, obviously. You notice Malik Willis isn't on this list because he doesn't meet the minimal snap criteria. So just an example there, okay? Let's move on to – let's do halfbacks first before we get into quarterbacks. So the running back room in Green Bay, right? What does it look like? Well, Josh Jacobs, we just told you about his background, his personal life. He's just an absolutely stand-up dude. Leader in the locker room, one of those quiet leaders, a guy that everybody respects. He's got current credibility in the league with his success. The third highest graded running back in the league is Josh Jacobs at 90.7. Now, to put that in perspective, Derrick Henry leads the league at 91.9. Bijan Robinson is second at 91.4. And then you've got Josh Jacobs at a 90.7. So he is less than 2 points, just a little over 1 point in grade, in PFF grade, from being the highest graded running back in the NFL. You guys remember us talking about this? Are we going to get the 2022 Josh Jacobs or the 2023 Josh Jacobs? We got the 2022 Josh Jacobs. So we are in great shape there. So you've got the number 3 back. And here's what's really cool. Look at the number 9 spot, guys. And again, this is minimal snaps removed. Number 9 in the NFL at 82.7 is Emmanuel Wilson. We have rights to Emmanuel Wilson next year. If the Packers want him back, he'll be back next year. You don't have to extend his contract. Emmanuel Wilson is number 9 in the league. So you've literally got 2 top 10 running backs, according to PFF, on your roster. You guys know I feel good about Chris Brooks, right? He didn't make the list, I don't believe, because of the minimal amount of snaps. Yeah, so I think he's grading out fairly decent as well. And keep in mind, Marshawn Lloyd's about to come off the injured reserve, so we're about to get even stronger at running back. So running back is, let's go. Let's freaking go. That's how it sits at the running back position. So you got 2 top 10 backs. Again, this isn't everything. It's just PFF, but we're going to use it as a tool here like we always do. Let's go to wide receiver. There's a lot of talk about the wide receiver room. I was listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy just a second ago, and on ESPN Milwaukee, I think it is. And they were talking about Jaden Reed, man. What's up with Jaden Reed, this and that. There's some people, and it's the same 2 or 3 Packer fans that are just freaking miserable. It cracks me up. They're making it sound as if Jaden Reed is this horrible player all of a sudden. They're the same people that are, they for whatever reason, they run around on Twitter with 12 likes and they think they have the right to tell every Packer fan how to fan. Stop complaining, stop being a baby about the penalties and this and that. It's like, shut up, dude. Nobody cares about your opinion. And again, it just, when that same person, 2 or 3 people keep popping up and telling other Packer fans how to fan, the gatekeepers, if you will, shut up. Nobody cares. Like, if I could buy you for what you're worth and sell you for what you thought you were worth, I'd be a damn millionaire. Like, it just drives me crazy. So anyway, they want to lead you to believe that Jaden Reed has had this huge fall off and he's not even a starting caliber wide receiver, right? He's having a down year. There's no 2 ways about it, but you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And if Jaden Reed's the floor of the wide receiver room in the future, sign me up. Sign me up. So let's go find the Packers' first wide receiver here. Look, is that right? That can't be right. Yep. Jayden Reed's the highest graded wide receiver on the Packers roster. So let's pretend like he's horrible at football when he's the highest graded player on the roster. Now, listen, he's sitting in the 42 spot. You guys remember us talking going into last offseason. I didn't feel like we had a true number one. And when I say number one, I'm talking about a receiver that draws bracket coverage, that can tilt the field in your favor on any given down, that type of player. I felt like we had a wide receiver room full of really good number two wide receivers. And that's a good place to be given Matt LaFleur's specific offense. That makes sense. So Jayden Reed coming in at 42. I like it. Let's keep this thing going here. Number 51 in the league at a 70.1 grade is Christian Watson. Christian Watson coming in at 51. Having a good year, in my opinion. Again, a solid, one of the best number two wide receivers in the game. Number two, right? You put him on any roster, Christian Watson's going to be one of the top two receivers on that roster. There's no doubt in my mind. Same thing with Jayden Reed, whether they want to use him in the slot or put him at Z and use him on the motion and all that stuff. So Christian Watson coming in at number 51. Number 70 on the list at 65.3 is Romeo Doubs. Okay. So why are we doing this? Again, we're trying to figure out where is this roster as we go into the offseason. Where are some of the big holes? Obviously, you're going to have to replace the guys whose contracts are coming up. But the goal here is to see, okay, from a performance-based standard, where do we see each position group, right? So wide receivers, Romeo Doubs is a 70 in the 70 spot. Dontavion Wicks is sitting at number 89, okay? At 89, Dontavion Wicks at a 61.3. So, again, there's 32 teams in the league, right? So you would want your number one receiver to theoretically be in the top 32 of receiver grades, okay? Jayden Reed's at 42. That makes him a high number two wide receiver. Christian Watson's at 51. That makes him a high number two wide receiver. 70 would put Romeo Doubs as probably one of the best number three receivers in the league. And then you've got Dontavion Wicks coming in at 89, which would obviously make him a number three receiver too. So you've got two really good number twos and two really good number threes. I like the depth of our wide receiver room. To me, there's no reason to upset the apple cart to go out and overspend for a wide receiver in free agency or even a high draft pick, a first-round pick on a wide receiver. I like our wide receiver room the way it is. Doesn't mean you don't add depth. Doesn't mean you don't try to go get a bargain in free agency, right? But that's kind of how I see the wide receiver room. And again, PFF, that's where they've got them graded. 42, 51, 70, and 89 as our top four wide receivers. I think that's all that made the list, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so that's all at wide receiver. All right, let's move on to tight ends. All right, tight ends. And again, this is PFF graded, isn't everything. You guys know I have been very vocal that I felt like Tucker Kraft should be graded higher this year. You can't evaluate the evaluators. It's hard to have an argument either way, but to know what they're looking at. But as it sits right now, Tucker Kraft is tied for 31 at a 65.0 PFF grade. Okay, so what does that tell you? That tells you that Tucker Kraft is a legit starting tight end. Surprise, surprise, right? Nobody's surprised by that at all. I don't think Ben Sims meets the snap criteria, which sucks because Ben Sims is grading out pretty darn well. But if we were to go look at it and say, okay, do we actually need a backup tight end? We know Musgrave's going to be healthy next year. If he may be back this year and contribute significantly. But with Musgrave coming back, he's going to be your number two. Ben Sims is coming back too. I don't see any reason to go try to get extra depth at tight end unless an awesome player falls to you and you hands down he's the best player on the board. Yeah, of course, that goes to say for any position, right? So that's how we look at tight end. 31st ranked, there's no reason to go out and try to overspend or reach in the draft for a tight end, in my opinion. Let's move on to offensive line. We got centers, all right? This one's going to hurt, and you guys know it. We'll take our medicine together. Creed Humphrey, still the highest graded center, and it's not even close, 93.5. We all know he went one pick after Josh Myers. He swung and missed on that. Frank Ragnow, number two, at 86.6. Tyler Linderbaum. You remember Tyler Linderbaum? We had him in the draft. Let's see where we had him ranked at here. Was that this year? It might have been last or the year before, actually. I think it was. Yeah, so it was the year before. I know we had a high grade on him during the draft. Um, yeah, so it must have been the year before. I don't think they had him as a tackle. Let me just double check. If anybody knows in the chat, let me know if I'm wrong here. If Linderbaum, I'm pretty sure it should show us, right? I don't want to click off this page because it may screw us up. 24 years old. He may have been in the league for 1 year now. Probably has been. If you guys know that, answer for me. But Tyler Linderbaum 80.4. Zach Frazier was definitely a rookie. Zach Frazier was one of our highest prospects. Just give you an idea of, we decided to not go after a center in the draft, and this is how much you could have improved it, okay? Zach Frazier was the second best center in the draft, okay? So imagine if you had taken Zach Frazier with your first-round pick. And again, I'm not here to roast Goody and try to, say we're smarter than him. We all know we're not. But you'd be sitting a lot better with Zach Frazier to 77.7, right? So people are going, Clayton, where's our boy at? Josh Myers is 37th, okay? He is 37th in the league at a 50.2. That's a perfect example of, hey, he's not starting caliber, right? Now, good pass blocker, or has been a good pass blocker in the past. Let's see what his pass blocking grade is on a year now. Looks like it's dropped. Yeah, it has dropped significantly. So what we always hung our hat on with Josh Myers and say, hey, look, he can pass block. He can pass block. It's a 61.3 pass block now. It used to be in the 70s and 80s at times. And it's like, hey, but he's a good pass blocker. You can kind of put up with it, right? That's tough, man. Really, really tough. Yeah, it is what it is. But that's why I'm not in the camp of, hey, let's re-sign Josh Myers to top center money or top 5 center money, top 10, not even top 32 center money. That's what I'm getting at. Like, if he agrees to a deal for $3 million per, yeah, I think it'd be worth it to bring him back because he's familiar with Jordan. He's familiar with the offense. He's good enough that you're not overpaying for him, and you could still go out and try to find his replacement. Now, many people believe his replacement's in the building, whether it's Elton Jenkins, Jacob Monk, whoever it may be. Regardless, you're looking to improve that position one way or another. And if you do kick Elton over, then you need to add depth at guard, and you're still taking a swing in the draft, an interior offensive lineman, right? Same thing with the guard position too, really, when you think about it. So center 50.2, that makes him the 37th ranked center. That's one I'm going to put in the red because we feel like, hey, that's going to be a need this offseason. Ironically, it was a need last offseason too that didn't get addressed. So it's what it is. All right, let's go to guards now. So keep in mind with guards, top 64 is starting caliber, okay? Top 32 means you're one of the best, in my opinion. But top 64 is starting caliber. This may surprise us here because I know Elton's having a bad year. Going down the list here and just looking, Dominic Puny, he was a rookie. You guys remember him? He was a rookie going into this last year's draft. He was one that was on our draft board, 81.1 with the San Francisco 49ers. So imagine if you had him plugged in at guard, right? Let's go on down the list here and see where our Packers are. Elton Jenkins is 46th in the league right now at a 61.4, okay? So, again, I would say that's starting caliber. Obviously, it's not as good as you want to see. You want it to be in the top 32. But this kind of goes along with what we've been saying with other positions. Like, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. He's your best guard on the team. Why would you get rid of him? You know what I'm saying? So, Elton Jenkins at a 60.8, we'll write that in. So that puts him ranked 46th in the league in terms of guards. Now, the next guard, who is it? Sean Ryan at a 58.0. That puts him in the 55 spot. So once again, within that starting 64, that top 64, that says, okay, he's a legit starter. And it's not so much about looking at the grades as it is comparing them across the board to other people at their position in the league is what we're trying to do here. So Sean Ryan, in my opinion, has earned the right to be the right guard as it sits right now. That doesn't mean you're going to break the bank and re-sign him. It doesn't mean you don't take a swing in the draft. And it damn sure don't mean you don't try to find a deal in free agency. But the way it sits right now, guard is not really an eyesore to me. And I'm color coding these for a reason. So the reds will really pop out to us on both offense and defense. Hey, here's what we need. That makes sense. So that's what we look like at the guard position, the 46th ranked and the 55th ranked. Now, I think we would all agree we think Elton Jenkins is better than the 46th. I don't think there's 45 other guards in the league that's better than him. That's just me personally. I could be wrong. So let's see here. Prince in the chat says, I have center as the top need for the draft. If they wanted to keep Myers, they would have extended him. I agree with you. I think it kind of feels that way too. I don't have it as the top need in the draft, but offensively, yeah. I'm with you on offense. I think we got greater needs on defense. Obviously, we got to find a 3-tech, and I know Kenny's under contract for the next 2 years, but find that next great 3-tech. You got to do it. You got to do it. Unless somebody really emerges here in the last 4 weeks, you got to find that 3-tech. And I think you still need to keep looking for an edge defender as well. That's just me personally. I think you still need to be looking for a mock linebacker too. Yeah. All right. Let's keep it moving here. Let's go to tackles now. Okay. Offensive tackles. Look at here, boys. Zach Tom coming in at right tackle as the 7th highest graded tackle in the game. The fact that he was such a late round pick, I think a 4th round pick, is just absolutely awesome. So you get him in the 7th spot. We'll put him in the green because we know he's playing damn good football in the basically the upper half of his position there. Let's see here. Let me go back and put Jordan's in green as well. Obviously, we need a running back. So I'm trying to keep this clean as we go along. And all this is going to make sense when we get done because we're going to do the defense tonight. And we're going to come away with a little game plan. All right, here's what we need to be looking for in this year's draft and offseason. So Zach Tom, number 7 at tackle. Let's see where Rashid is. Rasheed Walker, 48th. All right, so he's the 48th graded tackle at a 64.9. Obviously, that is within the top 64, so that would make him a starter. I'm not going to put it in green. I'm going to put it in black. But he is number 48. Now, listen, we talk about left tackle being a tier 1 position of importance. So if there's somebody hearing my voice that says we can do better than Rasheed Walker at left tackle, I completely agree. I do. I just feel like there's greater needs based off of the talent differential of Rasheed Walker and what we may or may not get in the draft. You know, we drafted Jordan Morgan. He was a left tackle his entire life, and we're trying him at right guard. Who knows? He may end up being the left tackle of the future when it's all said and done. We don't know. It's still early. But I like what Rasheed Walker's doing. And the main reason, this is what I'm talking about with exceptions here is, guys, look at his pass blocking grade, 81.8 pass blocking grade. Like, as a left tackle, that's what you want your left tackle. That's the type of play and focus and strength you want your left tackle to have when they're protecting Jordan Love's blind side. So I'm good with Rasheed Walker at tackle. So quick recap. And again, hopefully you guys have kind of caught on to what we're trying to do here. I want to make sure there's no other tackles. I don't think there is because of the snap count. There is not. All right. So quick recap. Quarterback, Jordan Love's the 15th highest graded quarterback in the league. We put that in the green. We're good. We got our franchise quarterback. No doubt about it. Halfback, you got Josh Jacobs in the 3 spot. You got Emmanuel Wilson in the 9 spot. You're good to go. Both of those are in the green. You got one of the best running back tandems in the league. I think LaFleur likes Chris Brooks more than Emmanuel Wilson. And some people think that Marshawn Lloyd is going to be way better than Emmanuel Wilson has been. If that's the case, don't even worry about running back for a couple of years. We're good, right? Wide receiver, we got the 42nd best in Jaden Reed, the 51st best in Christian Watson, the 70th best in Romeo Dobbs, and the 89th best in Dontavion Wicks. I feel good about the wide receiver room. Now, listen, if one falls to you in the draft and it's like, man, we had a tier 1 evaluation on him. The grade was just through the roof, right? Like an 80 grade on him or something crazy. If that was the case in the draft, yeah, I'm cool with them drafting a wide receiver if it's a stud and they're confident that it is. Now, what we're going to be picking is going to be in the late 20s, probably mid to late 20s. Probably not going to have that kind of player fall to you, right? So I feel good about where we're at wide receiver. Tight end, Tucker Kraft, 31st, a legit starting tight end in the league. You guys know, got some of the best hands in the league. He's a yak monster. I'm sure he still leads in yak over expected. So we're good there. You got Musgrave, who once he gets healthy, I think he's a solid number 2. Ben Sims, I think, me personally, I know I'm in the minority here. I think Ben Sims is a better tight end than Musgrave. Now, that may not last for long, but I really like Ben Sims. So the fact that he's going to be back is awesome too. So tight end, you're good. Center, though, the 37th graded center, okay? We got to do something with center. This is the year that we've got to do something at the center position. We got to do it. Whether you, like I said, if you think your center is in-house and you feel good about Jordan Morgan and Sean Ryan being the guards, I'm okay with that. If you want to put Elton Jenkins at center and play Sean Ryan and Jordan Morgan at guard, I'm totally good with it. Draft depth for both of those positions, and you're off and running. I get it. But if you're one of those fans that also says, hey, why don't we leave Elton at left guard and let's go find a freaking stud of a center. Let's go find Creed Humphrey. Let's go find Linderbaum, right? Zach Frazier, somebody like that. I'm on board with that too. The reality is we got to get better at center. And this is what has hurt the team. Listen, it hurt against Detroit, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. I know the coaching staff probably won't talk about it, but when you turn on the tape, Josh Myers got his ass kicked all day long at the center position against Detroit. The fact that you only lose by 3 points with the bad officiating that we talked about and your center playing that bad, imagine if you had Creed Humphrey playing center. Imagine if you had Zach Frazier playing center. And let's say you graded out really, really well. You're probably winning that ball game because that pressure early on those first 3 drives probably ain't happening. Now, I know the silent count was an issue. We talked about that. Emilio done a great job uncovering that information for us. That could have been the largest deciding factor, but every single year we keep coming up with the same person in Josh Myers, and we keep saying, yeah, buts are over, man. Let's go get this center position. Let's get this straightened out because it's that important. It really is. And when I talk in tiers of importance with positions, left tackle tier 1, quarterback tier 1, and then center tier 2. That's it on offense for me. You got to make damn sure you've got a great left tackle, a great quarterback, and a good center if you're going to do anything on offense. You can have, and I know people are going, well, wide receiver, Clayton, what about wide receiver? What about this? What about that? I got you. You go out and get 2 good wide receivers and not touch center, not touch left tackle, and you're the Chicago Bears. That's what happens. I'm just telling you. So that's how I see that. So, and yeah, I'm good with it. Like what Judah Tom says here, and we got to go. Mandy's going to kill me. Yeah, Josh can be our backup, upgrade at center. Imagine that. Imagine if you went to Josh Myers, and this is what I'm talking about. He's probably going to get paid really, really good in free agency because he's an athletic freak. There's no 2 ways about it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes somewhere else and has success. Like that happens all the time in the league, not just with the Packers, with other teams letting players go. Sometimes it's just a good fit somewhere else. But if you go to him and say, hey, Josh, let's give you, how about a 3-year deal, right? Let's go a 3-year deal worth $9 million total, and we'll give you $6 million fully guaranteed. So $6 million check for 3 years. He's probably going to say no. But if he said yes to something like that, or even just a 2-year extension, whatever it is, give him a little bit extra guaranteed money, but keep the overall number and the cap number down, bang, you've got a really high floor for center. And if for some reason you say Elton Jenkins is the starting center, now Josh Myers is getting paid backup money, right? And who knows, he could be a swing guard too. And then if Elton Jenkins gets hurt and Josh Myers has to plug in, you feel really good about having him as a backup center. There's many teams that if their starting center goes out, they are screwed. I mean, screwed. So I don't know if that makes sense. Prince, I think you're probably right. He says Myers will be a Bear or a Viking. Probably will, based off what's been going on the last few years. So, all right, guys, that's it. That's what we're going to hit on this morning. Like I said, I got to get my wife to the doctor. So we'll be back tonight to do defensive PFF grades and keep that ranking going. I'm going to save these rankings. So we have let me write this down real quick. I'm going to save these rankings so we have us a little blueprint going into the off season and get an idea of, okay, exactly what we need for the draft, all that good stuff. Now, here's what's crazy. We're going to be in Green Bay for the draft. We've already got an Airbnb right there in Green Bay set up. So our plan is me, Emilio, Tim, and Jacob, if he's available, to get together. And basically, we're going to hang out around the draft. We're going to do meet and greets. We're going to hang out with everybody like that. But when the draft starts, we're going to go back to the B&B and do a live show, do a live draft show. So that's the plan right now. That could change. We get up there, we might go, I don't want to leave the draft. Let's just hang out here all night. But that's kind of the plan. So we're gathering information for all that as we take it on the road. So that's it, guys. We'll see y'all tonight. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Thanks to everybody in the chat. I see it lit up. Thank you, Mike. Good to see you and everybody. He says, great show, Clayton. I don't believe you, but I appreciate the support, man. But we will see y'all tonight. PTA Live, 7 p.m. Central. Everybody have a great day. Get this week started off right. Get it on a run. Let's kick its ass, all right? As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go, Pack, go.
Thanks for watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Green Bay Packers content. Created for the fans by the fans. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know whenever we go live. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Packers_Access. Go Pack Go. Have a great day.